just give them a few minutes to join in. Once we have about 5 people, we can start.
I am going to have to say that I'm going to have to tell you guys beforehand, my screen time now is slow, right? So because I'm having concentrated, so I might not be able to stay that long. So I'm trying to reduce my screen time because I think I have a eyesight.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we could start now.
That's why I was opting for.
Yeah, we could start now.
For the physical kind of like meetup.
For
right?
the offline, yeah.
Yeah. That was why I
get that.
My vision is getting really bad.
It's fine. That's understandable. It's the Nigerian factor. Yeah, so we can start now. Yeah, we have a good number already. So others will join in along the line.
Yeah, Steven, thanks so much. I've seen the connection.
All right. Sorry, man. I can be terrible on LinkedIn sometimes. Okay. So let's start, right? I mean, I need to know when you guys can hear me and when you can't hear me and everything. It's going to help me a lot. So as mode of introduction, my name is Steven Gabriel, Alexander, whatever you want to call me. I'm kind of like, I'm a software engineer by background. I really want to point that out because, and I'll tell you why it's important that I say that most times. Most people, before I transitioned into data sciences and then, deep learning and NLP and all of that, I'm first of all a software engineer by background. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to share my screen. I can share my screen now, right? I guess. Okay. Since nobody's seeing anything, I think that's correct. So,
yes, you can.
I can't share my screen. It seems like it's disabled. So today, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit myself, what I do. Currently, the company I work with in Nigeria, Mobicure, I'm a software engineer on the data platform and NLP systems. So basically what I do is that I don't just do modeling. What I do is basically that I think about a data problem end to end, from modeling to deployment. So from the problem itself down to making sure that it is in production. Currently, one of my biggest achievements so far in the current company I work with in Nigeria is building one of the best analytics engine, conversation engine, that is able to help patients interface with doctors, and it's been really, really successful because having to take care of the engineering, understanding the problem from scratch, and then moving on. Another thing again, so I consult for some companies in Europe, about 2, and yeah, and one other company in Canada. So yeah, so I'm pretty busy schedule of things, but I'm available if anybody has questions for me and after this. So I'm gonna try to share my screen. Yeah. So yeah, great stuff. Sorry, man, I had to pull you up. Okay, so I'm not a fan of tutorials. Sorry, and it's gonna look very. That's why I wanted to see all of you. It's gonna be a little bit of a gruesome thing. I'm not gonna come here and tell you, tutor you on one thing. So I believe in fundamentals. I'm a little bit more pragmatic in approach. But I understand that. Okay, am I done with myself? I think I'm done with myself. Please, if you have any questions, I don't know how to give speech like this, because when you're online, you don't people are just quiet. They don't want to interrupt you. But I don't think I'm comfortable with that. If at any point in time, I think you should just stop me and then ask me a question. I think I'll feel more comfortable that way. Based on my major, educational major, surprisingly, I don't come from a computer science background. I'm actually a doctor. I went to medical school. Yeah, and most people don't know that. I've not sworn my oath yet. I might have to practice for at least 1 year, and once the coronavirus comes down, we'll swear the oath and then do the mandatory 1 year practice for Nigeria. But yeah, I'm a doctor. That aside, but you find me mostly writing software. Yeah. Okay, so NLP. I want someone here to tell me if you've worked with NLP. Just tell me what you know. Somebody, please.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Charles. Yeah,
I'm
Charles. Yes. Aside the introductory class we did on NLP, there was a time I was looking into chatbots, though it was using IBM Watson. So I see NLP, that's a natural language processing, as a being able to attend to customers based on their request.
Mm-hmm.
So NLP is like based on the IBM Watson experience I had, it was trying to collect the whole questions the customers have asked over time, and then generate an answer related to it. So when someone queries anything related to what it has seen, it throws an answer based on that.
Okay. Oh, great. That's a very, I think Charles is a businessman. He just went straight talking about NLP and how it applies to business. Cool stuff. Anybody else got an idea? Charles, brilliant. I love that. That's a very good insight. Anybody else? Okay. NLP. See, the thing is that NLP, it's like the term natural language processing, is one of the toughest computer science problems because of the fact that computers don't speak human language, but we are trying to make computers to understand how to understand human language, especially the semantics and language ontology. That's where the problem is, because in linguistics, there are things you can't say if, have, else. It has to make grammatical sense, right? And computers, because they don't have reasoning like us, and okay, of course, now computers can have memory in remembering what has happened in the past, like using concepts like LSTMs and GRUs, but they naturally don't have memories. So they don't know if a computer moved past a sentence or it's a word, it doesn't know, it forgets about it, right? And so for you to string a sentence like a grammar, like we're speaking right now, it has to make sense. If someone comes and says, the morning is kind of, okay, let me think of a very stupid thing that doesn't even follow. The morning fell like rain. All those kind of things that Josh Trufant does. Exactly, like all those things that he just comes and says, and the ant in the butterfly, and your TV under the rock. This thing doesn't even make sense, right? Like, what does the TV under the rock mean? So this is exactly how computers might read the thing. They don't understand. Okay, they can now, but naturally we don't understand grammatical construct. So NLP is more like an area of computer science that is focused on text processing, language understanding. How do you take a bulk of text or a string of text and make a sense out of it? And how do you process text? I need you guys to think about it from that angle. Because from the curriculum of what I was asked to talk to you about, it was mentioned to tell you about, regexes, sentiment analysis, and talk about text classification and building a chatbot. Now, the problem I have with that is, if I go ahead and do that, you don't know NLP. NLP is a little bit more tricky, right? It is a fundamental. If once you get it, I also want to say this to you guys. This is why I mentioned initially that I have a software engineering background. See, for everything that you are learning, every time someone says learn about LSTM, learn about let me think of something else that's shiny right now, blockchain, learn about deep learning. See, It's okay. It's a buzzword. It's sweet. You can go ahead and do that. But the problem is, you don't know why those things exist. Once you don't know why those things exist, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have loopholes like in your learning, right? Because you didn't ask why. I see this a lot where people that didn't have good grounds in writing software, goes to data sciences. Now the problem with that is most of the things you see in data science, they are actually directly tied to software engineering. Like I need you guys to always think about that all the time, right? Like sometimes that's why I don't like the term Python for data science, because when you say Python for data science, it looks like there's a kind of Python you need to know for data sciences. And then once you know that Python, you can survive. But the truth is, if in your first data science job, you might be that it's not going to be an available data. It's just that you've joined the job today and the guy is saying, you know what? So we don't have data. Our data is currently on Hacker News. We want you to write a scraper. Watch this, listen to this. That is going to be able to go to Hacker News, scrape every single thing there, pre-process it in the middle, using the middleware, then store it according to topic. Or if you don't want to hard code the topic classification, you could use NLP to classify it and then store it in the database according to topic. That means if anybody posts anything on Hacker News about database and MongoDB, store it differently. So this is a full-blown program. And these are the things that I've seen, I see daily and every time that, with people that are bought in data scientists, they've joined a new job and they start getting frustrated. Now, since that I'm talking about this right now, I think I have to go and talk about this now, this particular thing about how to get started in the industry. Sorry, I'm not a fan of making lots of notes and shit. I mean, and I just love to just get my hands dirty, which is what we're going to be doing today. And I want you guys to follow through. How do you get started in the industry? See, the truth is, I'm going to say this. I don't know how many persons are listening to me right now, but I want to say this to everybody. See, please don't bullshit yourself. Honestly, don't try to cut corners. Don't try to cut corners with software. Don't try to look for fasts. If this is the only thing you learn today, you would see my approach of this tutoring. I didn't have any honestly, I have no pre-made shit. Like there's nothing here. I have no tutorial for you. We're gonna go down the fundamentals. You and I are gonna dig through documentations and solve little problems and go through courseworks. And yeah, for me, I feel like that's gonna give you an insight on how I learn and how I've become formidable in solving problems. And I don't want to spoon feed you because the tutorial I'm going to give you cannot answer all the questions around chatbots. And yeah, I've built chatbots in production, but I still don't think that I am capable to teach you everything about chatbots, but I'd rather tell you the fundamentals of what you need to know, because I feel like if I leave you with that, you can decide to make a decision by yourself. So how do you get started in the industry? First of all, see guys, just pick an area of interest. Yeah, really. I'm telling you, the thing is, when you say data scientist, that's a very tricky thing. I don't know if anybody knows how confusing that word is. I'm a data scientist. So what exactly do you do? Because in data science, we have what we call ML ops. We have what we call data ops. I'm telling you guys, these things exist. We have what they call analytics engineering. And we have what we call visual engineering. We have people that are specific in business information or informatics. And we have people that, are people that are interested in modeling. And then we have people that are core machine learning engineers that are specified in like optimizing models. And then we have people that don't do anything outside of deep learning. and then we have people that are called researchers. So now when you say, I'm a data scientist, and then we have data engineers, and then we have software engineers for these platforms, which is where I'm specializing at the moment, because I don't think I like, when you say I'm a data scientist, it doesn't really suit well with me because I write software for these platforms. So now, if you see all these things, and then we have NLP engineer, because I do engineering in NLP. Now, if you wake up one day, say Charles wakes up one day and seems like, you know what, I want to be an NLP software engineer. See, the thing is that it's tricky because it might not sound data science-y to you, but that's everything. That is actually data science. Now, what do you do? If I want to hire you, I want to know where you're going to fit into my team. No recruiter loves ambiguous things. Like, I'm a data scientist. What is your superpower? It's not possible that you can know every single aspect of data science. It's not possible. It's not even possible. It's not practically possible. Even if you're good with visualization, you might not be very good with modeling. You might be good with modeling and visualization, that's fine. But you might not be very good with model optimization. You might not be very good with mathematical, modeling. You might not be very good with, writing deployments or, ML ops, taking model from production, serving the APIs. You can't be good in all of these things. Now, what I'm telling you is that you pick an area. You say, okay, I am interested in NLP. And I need to, because it's depth over breadth, like go deep. And then you learn about tokenization, you've learned everything about text preprocessing, you've learned how to build pipelines, you've learned all of that. But the thing is, if you keep going deeper, like build things, for instance, you might decide to build projects like, because right now I'm answering the question about what employers look out for, data science portfolios, and how to seek opportunity. I'm answering everything in one story, right? You've decided to pick an area because I don't want someone that is going to come to my team and say that he's a data scientist, but I don't know the exact task to give he or she. If you say that you breathe, you eat databases, that you love databases, that as long as SQL task is given to you, that you're going to eat it up, you're my guy. I want to know what you're good at. I want to know what your superpower is. This is what recruiters look out for. Because when I'm employing you, I need to know that you are filling a gap in my team. That you're not just coming to confuse me. If sometimes these companies are very specific. If they say they're looking for an API integration engineer, they're not looking for, most times they're not looking for a full stack software engineer. No, they're very specific. They need to know that you have love for APIs, that you've done it before, and then it's something that you're proud to do. Now, when you want to get started, I'm going to tell you the truth. Don't think that you're ever going to be ready to start building big things. Classical example was when I wanted to get hired in Nigeria. I want to tell you how I got hired. I think it's going to help you. I had done work with some healthcare companies, especially like in malaria research. And like I've done work, I've built on my own without, this is not tutorial learning, which is something I want to save you guys from. I learned the fundamentals of what I needed. And then I sat down and then I built a cancer system, right? Which was really good. I remember then I was in my 5th year. So that's not the first job I have. Sorry, I'm not going to lie to you guys. By 2014, I had one of my first biggest gig in the UK with Push Plugger. But I'm talking about like how I became like really prominent in the area of data sciences, right? I think in my 5th year, I remember that we were still doing our medicine and surgery postings, right? And someday this is how you do things that you are passionate about. I remember that I was in the theater and we had just finished this surgery. And as students, you don't do anything, you just scrub in, right? So we're in the theater and we're waiting for the results. So I figured that the person we're doing what is it called? It was a facial tumor. So we had just removed some of the tissues of the face, and then we sectioned it and then we took it to the pathology lab. And then I asked the question, and I asked, so how long is it supposed to be for this result to come back? And I said, give or take 3 days to 1 week. See, the problem with that is I already saw this is a problem. I mean, after you do all the slide preparation, you get it downstairs for like 1 week or 3 days to get a final diagnosis. You know what I did? I now saw a problem I had to solve. I went back, I curated the data. I collected about 250 data sets, and then I wrote a VGG model, and then it was from data to production. That is, even if like it was productionized. And then when I talked to some of my professors, they saw it, and they said, okay, you know what, we're going to supervise you more to work more on this. But aside from that, I had done some work with some companies that are doing stuff around artificial intelligence and malaria. And then one day I got a call, and it wasn't even an interview. Seriously, because the thing you don't know is that people are watching you, right? Like when you're doing good work, like when you're doing work and you are, see guys, be visible, really. When you're doing good work, you're writing about it, put it up on GitHub. So don't just do the whole crowd mentality thing. Let's put it up on, let's write stuff because we want to see, write what you're passionate about. I don't even write so much. I didn't even write so much, but I was in conferences. You could always see me arguing for the things I love. And I got a call one day and they said, hello, so we're trying to solve a problem here, which we don't know how to solve. And we also want to buy intellectual property, but we want to give it a shot. If you can solve it for us, we know that you are in school. Like you guys, I got every leeway. They knew I was in school. They were not going to disturb me. My contract didn't, but I wasn't bothered about coming to the office. So my contract was superb. It's an amazing company, right? And then I said, do you want to take it up? I said, sure, let's do it. Let's do this thing, you know? And, you know, I went there. I'm going to say, you know, where I solved the problem, solving other problems, you know. Now, what do you think these guys were looking out for when they were talking to me? First of all, they already saw what I did. It aligned with their interests. A finance company might not hire me firsthand. I hadn't done anything so big then, though I have now in finance, around AI. But I've done so much around healthcare, and I was audible about it. So they knew that this is our guy, right? So this is going to tell you that when you're doing something, right, you got to find out the area of interest that you're passionate about, and then you're going to find the domain of interest, because you can't just say. That's why you see some people like you will see someone that say that there are like financial analysts. This is something like financial analysts is just a data analyst that cares about finance. That's what they are. It's just the same thing, but they understand the domain. So you can see something like health analyst. So pick a domain of interest, and then you know what, just go deep inside it. It's more about specialized. I need to know that you just know one thing and then you know it better. And then let me answer the last thing. So portfolios, I've said it all. Like, just build your thing. Just, yeah, like in they will say, stop doing to-do list, right? Just pick a problem that is going to stress you, that you're probably going to spend like a lot of time trying to solve, you know, because if you just, yeah, tutorials are there, right? But the person that wrote the tutorial wrote what they know, right? And it's so unfair to you to depend on that. So when I see, oh, this is how you did this, I don't actually ever, you know, build whatever I saw in the tutorial stuff, right? As I'm reading it, if it concerns me, I start solving my own problems, right? So what I think is that when you want to build a portfolio, think of a big problem, because you cannot grow if you don't stress yourself. If your interest is in, let's say that right now, after this whole conversation, some of you now figure, you know what? I feel like I want to build a spam detector or a captioning tool, or you know the kind of thing that they have in Google Meets, that closed captioning, that if you're talking, it takes what you says and then print, not like subtitles it, but you can't call that subtitling, but that's called closed captioning, right? Think about, if you think about something like that, let's think about something like that. Let's assume that we are tasked to build that in real life. I mean, guys, this is very important to me because I'm not really more of if you don't know why you're going to do text classification, you're wasting your time, right? So let's talk about NLP pipelines. Let's assume that or let me look at the guys on the call now. Let me look for somebody I want to engage. Okay, let's say that maybe Ozioma or Moses or Collins or anybody, you just got your first job, and then they told you, see, guy, hey man, you're the new engineer, welcome. So we're trying to solve a problem now. And the problem is that we want to build a closed captioning system into our what is it called? Video streaming software like Jitsi. Jitsi is open source, right? And we want you to do it for us. How we want you to contribute. We want you to be the one in charge of this project. And then they ask you, how would you solve it? How would you solve it is a very big question, right? Like I said, how would you solve this problem? See, there's no harm in going in first principle. Let me tell you how I'll think about it naively. Don't think about big stuff, guys. Never ever think about big stuff, right? Like, I'd say, okay, first, somebody is talking and I want to print the text. Of course, know that there's already, what is it called? Speech to text algorithm is existing and libraries out there. Which is what you're doing. But let's assume that you don't have a library. So it means that I need to find a way to convert audio to word vectors, right? And you see, there are like some things I want to show you guys something. There's something called word to vec. We're gonna go into I like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a very unbiased resource, right? See, it's word to vec. What it does is that it uses a neural network, yeah, to learn word and associate from a large corpus of text. Now, what this means that you can use word to vec if someone says a lot of things like I've said right now. Word to vec is can be one of your pipeline, because you can't. In NLP we don't have one pipeline, right? This is gonna surprise you. We don't. I think I put up a PDF here. We don't have one pipeline. We never ever do. We usually, if we want to solve what the heck is this? Okay, I'm gonna pull it up. I don't know where I kept it. Okay, look at this. I pulled this up for you guys. This is just, imagine you want to do something like an NLP pipeline for role labeling, just role labeling. There's a raw text. This is step one. You get a raw text. You tokenize the text. I'm going to tell you guys what we talk about when you say tokenization. You send text, tokenize it. And then you go down, tokenize each of the words again. And then you do what they call part of speech tagging. You lematize. See, this is just to solve a single problem of role labeling. Now, why am I interested in things like this? It is because that it's in, this is how you would learn to solve your own NLP problems. So I feel like I've said a lot of things, and I am going to stop right here so that you can ask me a question and I can catch my breath before we continue. Please. Anybody?
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thanks for how far we've come. Yeah, so Charles, Kamal, Humphrey, Collins, Bolu, Ozioma, and Victory. I think this is where you get to ask questions. So let's do it
Just
in beat so it doesn't
yeah,
go on a long
yeah.
stretch.
Let's make it interactive. Yeah, yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think we have learned a lot already, and we're not yet started. So, but what do you think of using frameworks while trying to develop a very large application that you want to push into production? What do you think of using frameworks?
Okay, that's a very, very smart question, man. I that's a very brilliant question. Personally, I don't, I don't like reinventing the wheel. For starters, you and I, we're gonna go through some things in NLP using Spacey. Spacey is a framework. And I'll answer your questions now. The problem I have with frameworks is, like I said, you better know why you're using it. You better know what it was built for. It's just like right now, sometimes everybody just, there's a framework war. The war around frameworks is, for instance, if you're in software engineering, you see people saying, no, don't use Node.js. Oh, use Django. Oh, Laravel is rubbish. Oh, don't use TensorFlow. Oh, use PyTorch. For me, I'm a framework agnostic person. What I mean is that I don't care, really. Like, I don't care. I'm just more interested in solving the problem. Now, but I can make that decision because I understand the fundamental of what that framework is doing. Because if you don't, you're just going to dance to the tune of the framework. If anything is not possible with the framework, you don't even know how to extend it. Like, you see people that that's what they call what is it called, vendor locking, right? See, the thing is that it's just a framework. It's just a framework. And I would say now I always support open source frameworks. If you're gonna do anything around machine learning, please go for open source framework and try to design your system so much way that it's decoupled. I know what I'm saying. This is tricky. That's why I don't like TensorFlow. No hard feelings, right? I've used it. I've used Keras. I've written many frameworks that is PyTorchy in behavior, but I'm not a TensorFlow fan. I'm going to tell you why I'm not a TensorFlow fan. It works. I've seen what they do. It's beautiful. It's brilliant what they do with TensorFlow, right? Like TensorFlow Serve, TensorFlow Lite, TensorBoard. It's smart, but it's not Pythonic. It's not Pythonic. It's too TensorFlow-ish that I feel like I'm not doing Python anymore. I feel like I'm just learning this framework. But in contrast to something like PyTorch, right? PyTorch is so Pythonic. I feel like I'm not using my Python skills, right? That I'm just like one other Python classes. I'm just dealing with classes. I'm not doing anything extra. If I get super tired, because guys, one of the things you gotta get comfortable about is jumping into source codes. Now let's see something. Watch this. Look at this. Let's go to PyTorch. Let's go to PyTorch's let's look at the code structure. It's not gonna look it's never gonna look alien to you, right? It's never gonna look. Let's assume that we're trying to let's look at this. Let's look at let's look at the modules. I'm gonna also tell you guys that that PyTorch wraps Python on top of it, so you might. Okay, sorry. Let's do this. It wraps Python on top of C++, so it's not entirely Pythonic because I'm going to tell you guys why. Let's look at touch.sensor, something like this, right? looking for something that is a little bit more robust. And okay, let me look at this. Okay, nice. Convolution layers. Yeah. You see, if I'm just ignore the the whole, because they're trying to like the proof of how this came about, right? If I'm reading anything here, I'm not feeling weird. I know what I'm reading, right? Like I don't feel like I'm lost. I feel like I'm reading the Python I already know. I'm not reading what is it called? I'm not reading a new framework. So the problem I have with frameworks is, look at this. This is not over my head. This is, if I feel like I'm losing something, I look at the documentation, wherever this is coming from. If I know this on like a code editor, I would have seen it. But I still feel like I'm Pythonic. So frameworks, yeah, of course, you don't have to spend, because you're not solving the framework problem. What I mean by that is, when you want to build a project, always think like a business, right? Business owners don't waste time with things that are not their business. What I mean by that is, if you're gonna spend time writing a new framework, you better have a good reason for doing that. Is that what you're trying to solve, or you're just trying to build a model that probably tells you when it's gonna rain or not? So you better know where to concentrate your energy in. Now, that being said, because a business owner, if you're building a framework, that and spending energy, like I want to build a web app right now. Instead of me to go use something like Django, I would now say, you know what? No, let me go and build my own Django-ish stuff first. After that, I'll now use my own framework. No, that's crazy. Nobody does that. I don't know. People might do that, but that's crazy. But I think that first of all, understand what you're trying to solve. If it's not, then use what's available, but know exactly why that framework was built, what it tends to solve, if possible, the limitations. Like read everything about it. Now, go deep, understand the internals of it. That way, you'll be because what I do normally when I have a problem with the framework, I just go straight up and I read the documentations. What's available in it, what they can do, what they can't do, what's possible. And then I'll start asking myself, this thing I'm solving right now, is it possible to do with this framework? If I see 90% or 100% or 80% of possibility, that's a go for me. So yeah, that's a good one. You can do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Before I move on to regex. Okay, let's talk about regex.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Actually, I have a practical question.
Please go ahead.
On the aspect of tokenize.
Okay.
So
okay.
I was working on one particular question. So I've already imported NLTK, and I have imported the word tokenize. And then whenever I want to apply it, it keeps saying that tokenizer is not defined. And
Okay.
I have set online to look for the way out and all that, but I've still not gotten anything concrete. So,
okay. But you know what tokenization does, right?
Absolutely, yeah, I do.
Okay, good. Okay, so I wouldn't want to answer you alone, right? Because some people here don't know what that is. So I think I would, when we jump into working with NLP, I can answer that question. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough, fair enough.
Dope. But for starters, right?
Yeah.
If I want to talk to everybody right now. Like, it's just the English word like token. I have a bulk of text and I want to tokenize it, right? It means that I want to split it into probably words, right? So and then if you tokenize a word, you can now form what they call a bag of words, or BOW. So when I'm gonna answer that, I probably wouldn't know why NLTK does that to you, but I would answer that from first principle. Okay? That's fair for me.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Good. I'm going to answer that from first principle because I don't really like to. I didn't develop NLTK, but I can answer the question from what I know about tokenization, right? And so that if it's happening, maybe you can decide to write your own custom function to solve the problem for yourself, okay? But of course, these libraries, they implement faster algorithms to do these things. So that's why probably your own might be very, very slow for like large words. But we're going to attack that on Spacey. But before I do that, let's talk about like if nobody else has a question, I can move on and talk about regex pretty fast. I'm going to say something about this regex thing, right? I can't teach you all of regex. I'm just going to answer questions about what are regexes, how to use them in Python, and why do you think regex is important for NLP? Because so let's not just waste time on buzzwords, right? So if you say regex, first of all, they are like they became like popular, following Unix systems. They're what they call POSIX engines, And what exactly are they? They are just regular languages for file processing, text processing. See, this thing is very important because you know that Unix computers, they are text-based. I'm using a Unix or a Linux computer because Linux is not really a Unix computer, but it took initiative from Unix. So what regex does is that it's just there to help you process text as fast as possible. If you have a bunch of text, you want to do pattern matching, and it's these engines are written down to like C, like using programming language C, right? C language. So and in Python, we package this regex in what they call the RE module or the RE module, and we're going to use this. We're going to go through this. I think it's this time that I'll tell you guys to like open up your Colab, whatever you work with. So let's do some stuff. When you guys are ready, please give me a heads up so that I can start. If you're ready, just sit ready.
Yes, I am.
Great. Let's wait for like 3 more people to say ready so that we can move on. And guys, please, I want you to also pay attention. You see, I'm not even trying to act like a magician. Maybe I know everything. I don't know everything. Nobody does. I just, I'm doing this on purpose. Literally opening things. I'm going to Google things in your face because I also want you to do away with the whole imposter syndrome or some things that some people might make you feel like, no, we still Google shit. I mean, even as an engineer with some years of experience as myself, I still always Google stuff. Yes, I have experience on how to solve the problem, but I am very comfortable in Googling things. And I am never a fan of, of being like a superstar. Yeah. So get comfortable and you will see how we can think about a particular problem and then we can, go through it. Anybody else ready? Let's move on.
Ready.
Ready. Great stuff. Great. Okay.
Still
ready?
loading.
Still loading. Okay. Nigeria.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Nigeria. Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, ready. Oh, great stuff. Great. So let's play a bit. So the thing about, if most of y'all have used regex packaged in Python language. See, guys, I want to tell you guys what's happening, right? I want to tell you guys what's happening. You see, when you have time, try to learn about, system programming. What I mean by system programming is try to learn about how to talk to things like Unix. I'm going to show you something. You see, whenever you're working in your terminal, right? Whenever you're working in your terminal, you see, anytime that you do something like ls this, cd that, cd, you know, code base or document. See, like sometimes try to learn about how exactly, how do you write programs that can talk to these file systems. I'm going to tell you why it's important. Every single thing that you see sometimes in programming is just computers trying to talk to file systems. That's it. Like something is trying to talk to file systems. That's all. That's what it is. Like, that's why if you guys, I don't know, anybody here conversant with Docker? Docker. Anybody knows Docker? Okay.
I haven't heard of it.
Okay, you've not heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, guys, I'm going to tell you guys something what Docker is about and why it's important that you know about it. See, it changed the game. So Docker changed the game in the sense that before, the problem was that if Collins sets up his, you know, you have done your own pip install, whatever, you've done everything, and then you push the code to GitHub. Let's assume that, or you've done your everybody here is a genius, right? They've done everything, and then you get to production environment, and you want to deploy, and you find out that, oh my God, that you did what you did in a Windows computer, but your production system is Linux. Discrepancy, problem one starts. And then somewhere Ozioma is saying, it's working on your, it's working on, she's using Windows 2, or he's using Windows 2, and he's saying, it's not working on mine, but it's working on Collins's. And somewhere Charles is complaining. You know what Docker said? Docker said, you know what? Okay, let's solve this thing with homogeneity of systems, right? Using Docker engine, when you create your environment, you're literally doing the same environment you use in production. You use it whenever your teammates grabs the what is it called? The Docker images and just run Docker build. This your every single thing you have is kind of like built for in your teammates' computer. So people can start using your environment, you know, as immediately as possible. Maybe I don't know about my session. Maybe I'll keep in touch with you guys somehow, so that maybe one time we can geek around and talk about Docker and data sciences and how it's helping me in production. Because most of the systems that I use internally in my company that I work for, I have to Dockerize them. So it means that if for any reason AWS goes down, I'll just take my Docker image and go back to DigitalOcean and drop it, and I'm still live. I don't have a problem because I have done everything in a single container. Okay, that being said, let's geek around. Let's geek around with regex, right? So what's regex? You know, this is the only thing I want you to it's a regular expressions. They are tiny, highly specialized programming language. They're embedded inside Python because they're not Python. Python does not own regex, right? Regex is actually a thing from Unix systems, right? And it's available through the RE module. So when you're using this little language, you specify the rules for the set of possible strings that you want to match. Remember, what we are trying to do with regex is pattern matching. We want to match strings. You can then ask questions such as, does this string match the pattern? Or is there a match pattern anywhere in this string? You see what we're going to be asking right now? If somebody passes you a string, you've written a regex pattern. How do you think email is pattern matched? I'm going to show you guys something now. let's see the kind of the see this is the general email. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, this is supposedly this pattern, right, is supposedly how you can match all forms of email. If something is not an email, it will match it. And I think that what we can do, you know, what we can do is we can, what is it called? We can, let's see, let's test this. Let's take this. Let's get a feel of regex. I hope this works. You see what I'm saying? You see what's happening now? It's matched. Are you seeing what's going on? So what happens is that, see this regex, this whole thing here, it's a written, it's very complex. I'm going to tell you guys, honestly, regex is a very complex beast. It's something that you have to take time to practice it over and over again. If I do something like at tests, it's not going to match it. It's not an email. I don't know if you guys are following, right? Because what this does is that every single time let me tell you what happens. Every single time you somehow, maybe you go to a website and then you are typing in your email and they say, this is not an email. How do you think they know it's not an email? They use regex. So that particular, what's it called, form system makes use of regex. So what happens is that when you go there and then you put something and then they say, please enter a valid email, it's because they haven't matched as an email. So it doesn't only have to match to gmail.com. If I do Steven at, it's an email. And the funny thing is that they made it in a way that even if you do Dave _ test at Stoughton, you see what I'm saying? So it knows that this is an email right now. Good. So I want you to be thinking of regex from first principle. What are regexes? They are basically, let's assume that you wake up one day and say that you want to write a regex pattern that would only match this text on my t-shirt, Converse. That's all you want to match. That's what we do with regex. So now that we've kind of like gotten a little bit of, regex on the browser, I'm going to specify, this is one place that I want you guys to come after this to practice your regex. It's called regex 1. It helped me a lot when I was, back in the day when I was, I still learn regex. Really, I still learn regex because nobody ever will come and say that they are regex engineers or they mastered regex. But at least you know how to think about it. That's what I want to help you guys think about right now. So now, the first thing we want to talk about right now is how do we, let's start with simple patterns, right? You can always come back here. This is a Python documentation, right? So it's not, I'm not one that wrote it. So let's start by matching the simplest possible regular expression. So the first meta character that we look at is this, and these guys are used to specify a range. Let me explain something right now. Watch this. It's saying this is used for what? If, for example, ABC will match any characters ABC. Now, watch this. Let's come here. Let's remove this, our old regex. I want us to be testing this right away as we're doing it. You can also open this. You can also open this in your, so watch this, ABC. This is what I want to match, right? So it means that we want to only match, if I put A, you see, A is a match, right? Are you guys, please, I want to guys, I want to know if you are following.
Yes,
You're following.
Yes.
I was following.
Great. So watch this. There's no match. If I put 1, 2, 3, it won't match, right? Because we didn't, our regular expression does not, it's not rolling, right? It's crazy. If we do AC, it will match. BA, it will match. But watch this. ABD. It's probably going to match. Okay, let's see something. AB, right? D. D is not a match. A is not a match. A is a match. I get what I'm saying right now? But watch this. I come back here and I do A to Z, right? Everything is a match. Are you guys feeling it right now? If you come here and say X, Y, Z, that's a match. So let's assume that you are writing a program. I want you guys to be thinking about application of regex now, not just about NLP. Let me ask you, how do you think programs like Google Keyboard block vulgar words like fuck, all those, anything like we say fuck, it doesn't allow you to type it, or it just removes it? It's this. Do you know that you can match it here, right? Like if I wanted to match, watch this. It will match this word. I think if I want to match more than this, I can pipe it. Let's say, if I come here, let me try this. I think, are you guys seeing what I'm doing now? Now imagine that I'm writing a program that anytime it says this, please block it. You know what I'm saying? This is how you're going to specify it in your backend. So if somebody enters something, your string is matched against your regex pattern. If it matches it, you might now decide the next action to take. So that's like the first pattern matching we're going to look at. And meta characters, are not accessed. Okay, because every single thing you create in regex is called a language class. So okay, yeah. So you see, they're trying to tell you about meta character, right? Because meta characters, they are special cases, right? But if you put them inside, what is it called? If you put them inside an active class, like something like this, $, it's supposed to mean something in regex. But because you put them inside a class, an active class, it loses its nature. And also, you can match the characters not listed within the class by contemplating the set, complementing the set. This is okay. Now, see, watch this. If you use this sign, this caret, it will match any character except 5. You see, like, if you do something like this, that means, for example, this will match every character. Oh, there's a, please, can you ask me? Kamaldeen.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, please.
Back to the A to Z, the last regex that you did.
Yeah.
So does that imply that if I type any word that contains, there's like 4 many words that contains any character between A to Z?
It's gonna match it. It's gonna match it. It's gonna be a very stupid regex. Yeah, that's a very stupid regex, right? But yeah, it's gonna match it. Look at, if you do that, if you do it, that's a very brilliant question. If you do it to Z, it means that it's gonna match it. If you say it's gonna match it.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's how regex works. I'm gonna implore you guys.
Sorry, please.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can you use except so and so words in that?
Yes. Right. Yeah. Regex has a way. See, for instance, now, let's say we want to, okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. How you can escape some things and don't match some things, all right? Okay. I'm trying to look for a very, very interesting thing. Okay, let's take a look at all these things right now. See this? This matches any digital decimal digit that is equivalent to 0 to 9. It's same thing we did with like A to Z. Matches any non-digit character. This is equivalent to the class. So you know what's going on here, right? Let's see. Remember, if the caret sign comes in between before a particular stuff, it means that don't like it's saying match every character but not 0 to 9. See what this? It's not going to match it because we're escaping it. It's just I'm answering your question right now, Collins. This is because there's no one way to write regex. It's a language, like a programming language. You can configure it the way you want it. Just make sure that it's actually it's durable. So this means that don't match anything between 0 to 9. But if I put A, it's going to match it. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Guys? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry, my connection went unstable. Okay, I think I'm back. So now, so case in your regex, this is gonna be what you want to do, and this matches any alphanumeric character. So you see what's happening here? You want to match A to Z, because it's watch this. It's not the same. Look at. I want you guys to pay attention to this. Not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The uppercase A would not match with better numeric, and of course they match underscore. Now, this C, once you place the correct in front of all this thing, that means match any non-alphanumeric character. Wow. Any question?
Sorry, hello?
Yeah, please. Who's asking me? Oh, okay. I'm listening. Okay, great.
Okay, so the very last thing you said about the alphanumeric characters, I didn't exactly get what you were saying because it just kept the call just kept cutting, so I wasn't really getting
Okay.
what you were trying to
Okay, I'm gonna use this regex pattern to explain it. Let's use this one, okay? Let's use this one and talk about it. All right, great stuff. Okay, so look at this. Let's read this regex. Let's read it. The active, square bracket is saying match A to Z, lowercase, match uppercase A to Z, and match 0 to 9. So it's saying that please match every alphanumeric character, right? So that means if I do this, it's gonna match. 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 You know what I'm saying? If I do 0, it's going to match. If I do 3, it's going to match. If I do 1, it's going to match. And watch this. If I do this, it's not going to match arts. But it's supposed to place like a green thing around just ER and telling you that art is not a match, but this is a bad UI, right? But if you, for any reason, you decide that, let's do this. Like you see what they said here, you want to put a caret sign. You put a caret sign in front of this active class and you come back here and you do this. Nothing is going to match again. At that time, art is going to match. Hash is going to match. Am I getting it right now? Because you're trying to escape.
Yes, I get it.
Dope. You're trying to escape it. Guys, we might not be able to exhaust regexes, but I want to talk about how we can just quickly use regex in Python, right? What this means, and then because we usually we don't why do we have to compile, right? And what does it mean, right? Watch this. We're using the RE module, which is the module that holds our regex pattern. This is the only thing I want to tell you guys. So you can take your time. You can go to town with regex. I'll tell you how regex is applied to a NLP and how it's helped me. It's not really helped me so much because I hate to write regex. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of work to write regex, and it can get really messy. But if you're a genius and you can write regex more than I do, good luck. Not me. I mean, I can avoid it. I avoid it as much as possible. If it's not on the standard library using Python, I'm gonna cry, but I'm gonna write it. But I hate it. But let's talk about how this works. So let's import the RE module is what holds all the regex pattern that we want to use. Remember that the best, if you want to use a regex now, for instance, watch this. I'm going to have to first of all compile my pattern. So let's say we're writing a regex that does not take any alphanumeric character. You guys are with me, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to store it with something like non-alpha norm. Let's go to alpha norm, and we're going to say re that, of course, that compile, right? And what we're doing is that we don't want any guy that is, that is alphanumeric. Guys, tell me when I'm doing something very stupid. I can do something stupid sometimes. Are you guys following? Is this correct? It should be correct, right? Yeah. So we can then with because I'm following this, I'm just doing right? If I come here and I print, let's see what we have in non-alpha norm. Yeah, right. And I run this. Let's see what we have. You see, so it means that our pattern is correct, right? Great stuff. Now, let's assume that I want to check if a text given to me is like, watch this, and I test case is a string I want to test. Oh, guys, I really wish I met you guys in your office space. Test case. So test case is hello art, right? Great stuff. And I want to see if it's gonna match. And I say non-alpha norm dot match, right? test case. Hold on a sec. I'm supposed to print this. Whoa, is this supposed to happen? Is it? Let's see something. Let's see something. It's saying that there is no single match. Isn't that weird? Uh-huh. You see what I'm saying? So it means that we are matching something. Like, let's assume that we're not escaping this, right? Let's not escape this, guys. Let's do something really more fun. Let's run this. Let's come back here. This is not going to run anymore. None. But if we say, hello, guys, and I run this, yeah, it's probably going to, it's because it's, I think it's what it does is that, there's a loop. This thing is a continuous loop, right? Like, but apparently, when you go through documentation, you find out that, the objects you're going to probably like make use of, if there's something available, okay, I see. Yeah. If it's available or whatever and all of that. So I feel like you can have more fun like going through this by yourself. But I feel if you ask me, the first thing you'd want to do is to come here, regex 1, and then go through regex by yourself. It's really, really, it's really, really like, they're saying, look at this now, they say task, match this text. How do I match this text? Can somebody help me? I want somebody to help me. Charles, can you help me match this text on my screen, please? The first one. What am I supposed to put in my active class?
We'll put A to G.
Good man. See this? We matched it. If I don't want to guess, what do? I do A to Z. You see, we're gone, right? So, I mean, I'm not the genius here. You guys are the genius. So I feel like you could just take care of this and go. This is the next one, and then so you take your time. You come here, and you have fun. So I'm gonna have to jump regexes and move to this. So I want you guys to load this up. Okay, I'm having a problem with my computer loading. Okay. All right. So, I mean, one of your tasks, because I know I have to give you guys a task, is to actually take your time and go through regex, and then, yeah. Do you guys have any question before I jump ship? Because I'm about to jump ship, and I'm having serious. My eye is straining. Any question, please? Hello? Am I still online? Okay, I should be still online. Anybody? Question? Please?
No question from me for now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the part of the
Okay, I see.
NLP technology. Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay, so you guys can open up this resource, course.spacey.io. It's going to be my gifts to you guys too. So you can take your time and go through it and have fun NLPing. Let me know when you've opened it up.
Hello.
Who's talking, please?
Moses. Good afternoon.
Oh, Moses. Hey, good afternoon.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, with the regex, how do we perform tasks that involve special characters? So
yeah, exactly. So if a task involves special characters during the course of, can you please mute your, okay, good. Like during the course of you learning about regex, because I can't teach you regex. You know, for instance, let me show you something here. I can't teach you everything about the regex, but look at this. Mm, okay, let's see. Look at this. This one is talking about how to match non-alphanumeric characters. I need to say this, you know, because you gotta specify it. If, for instance, now if there's a special character, you know, we mentioned something here where if you put the dollar sign, if you put the dollar sign within an active class, it becomes inactive. And when you study regex down, you find out that there are special ways that you can actually, everything is in documentation, really. Like there are special ways that you can actually work with special characters, you know, avoid them, make sure they maintain their ability and all of that. If you put them in an active class, they become inactive, and all of that. So I really, let me look for that. Let me look for that so that I can satisfy you in that. Okay. Okay, other special characters. Look at this. Say, you see, you wanted to match this. So, okay. You see, this guy, look at this. This guy represents any non-alphanumeric character such as punctuation. You feel me, Charles? So that's what this guy, Moses, sorry.
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, great. So now, what happens is that if you, let's see this. Additionally, there's a special character which matches the boundary between a word and another. It's like, look at this. Let's see this. Let's see how this works. You see, you know why all this passed? Because is why this passed basically is because that it said that this backspace W is going to match any non-alphanumeric character, right? That's what it's going to match. So if I'm looking for what is it called, like a particular thing, like a text from a string, you know, and I want to match an non-alphanumeric character, I probably have to go with backspace W. So what I don't want to do is that I don't want to tell you about regex and teach you regex. I want you to get the point about regex, and I want to take a deep dive. If it's something that you care about, then learn the heck out of it. If it's not something that you care about, then leave it. I mean, you don't have to know everything, really. Like, so, I feel like, you know, this is just for me to introduce you to this stuff, and then you can just like, be the captain of your own ship. But this is documentation. This is what I'm going to be doing all through, so you don't feel like, you know, I don't want to give you a containerized learning that when I'm done, you'll feel like that is all to know. That is not all to know. So take your time, take a deep dive, play with it, make a mistake, delete the code repo if it's not working for you, start all over again. So that's what I want you guys to be doing, really. That's the best way you get better in this stuff. So now I'm gonna do a little bit of introduction to NLP using spaCy, right? I'm trying to also work with time. I am having serious eye strain. So why Spacey? What does Spacey do for us? So Spacey is a language framework. It's a text processing framework. I'm going to also tell you guys why I'm favoring Spacey over NLTK. It's because that the first version of chatbots that I built literally ran on Spacey, right? And what happened is that Spacey was a text processing layer of the chatbot. Chatbot has many layers, right? Let me give you a classical example, which is something that I'm giving you guys with this resource so that when you take your time, the person that wrote this resource are part of the people that built the framework. And its Spacey is really, really amazing, right? And because when you say sentiment analysis, what the heck is sentiment analysis? It's just one form of text classification. The same thing as, so I want you guys to understand how to solve this problem from the fundamentals so that you don't think that, that is, because there is something called contextual semantic search. If you do sentiment analysis and there's somewhere in your head, you feel like that's all there is. No, that's not all there is to be. I mean, I know that AWS is using something called CSS. So what they do with CSS is that it helps them do what they call, they can text classify, do topic modeling, and at the same time do sentiment analysis. And I think they do also, what is it called? To classify mood and all of that. So why am I interested in you knowing the fundamentals? Is because the problem that you might solve might be custom to your company or whatever you are solving. And I feel like it's fair that you guys know how to research this problem, because tutorials, they have this whole thing we're doing is really nice. But the point is, you need to solve your own problem. Chatbots is just like one thing that you're going to be building in NLP or whatever. So let's dive deep. Guys, I might talk really slow now because my eyesight is bad. Okay. So let's talk about Spacey. If you guys have installed Spacey, what is it called? If you have installed Spacey, you can do that by doing this. Have you guys done that? If you're on Colab, you can just do this. Pretty easy. I think it's come prepackaged with Colab, so just do this for the sake of whatever, right? And so let's import the language, right? Are you guys here with me? Has anybody gotten to this point?
Yeah, progressing.
Okay.
We're trying to install Spacey.
All right. Are you on Colab, Ozima?
No, not.
Your local drive?
Sorry?
You're on your local drive.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Anybody else got into where I am?
It's not going we try.
Okay. Okay, let's move along. So what is happening here? We are doing something, guys. If you remember your Python, this can't go over your head. we are accessing the space module, like the language package, and we want to import the English class. This is just what's happening here. It's pretty basic, right? Then what do? Because then we instantiate a new object using the English class, right? Are we good? Good stuff. And it contains the processing pipeline, includes language-specific rules for tokenization. Why is this important? This is where NLP becomes really interesting. Tokenization is very different for every language, right? So you better know that. So this is how you tokenize a word in English is not going to be how you tokenize a word in French. Now, let's define a word. We want to create a doc string of word. We want to be able to tokenize, right? So this is how it happens. This is I'm just going to grab this, and I want to show you how it works. It's pretty basic. And if if you want to loop through this for texts in doc, print, I think text of token, right? Yeah. Token to text. So this is for you, Charles, right? And if you run this, oh, token is not defined. Oh, nice. So let's see what happened. Oh, for token in doc. Oh, I see. I'm crazy. I'm a crazy person. I'm a very crazy person. Forgive me, guys. I'm just weird. But this should work. I'm gonna tell you guys the stupid thing I did. I mean, it's programming. You don't. It should work. Why not? Why shouldn't it work? So what's happened is that, let's do something really interesting here, guys. Let's assume that I'm removing this because I like going down to the first principle. Let's print doc. Let's see what is in doc, right? Yep. You see, this is what happens, right? I mean, it happens that we are creating a word object. That's why we wrap it around the NLP class. But I'm trying to loop through, I'm trying to loop through, each of the word. That is what you are trying to do, Collins. You're trying to tokenize these words, and it's like a breeze in Spacey, right? Because you just gotta like loop through all the words, and then you print out each of the texts. See, this is something that you can we achieve this without, guys? Can we achieve this with just pure Python language? We can, right? Can we? Why not? So we can.
Yeah, sure.
We can do this, man. It's pretty basic. If we have a text and we call it a text case, and we call it hello world. See, I'm gonna even do this in a very weird way. Watch this. If you wrap this around lists, right? Stop taking the lights. So I'm sorry, guys. I like to play around things like this, right? You see, okay, this is really crazy. This is really, really crazy, right? But you get the point. You get the point. That even if we don't do this way, we can use the splits, right? There's a splits module in Python that does this. Can somebody walk with me, please? Is there a splits? Is there a split module, please, guys? Let's write it in. Let's write it. Is it? I want to talk to you guys as my fellow engineers. Tell me the module. Tell me the module. There's a module that I need the module.
Yeah.
What is it?
Split
It's a split mod. It's a split model, right? You're a good man.
It's not going to be in a list. It's going to be a string.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking for. So I wanted us to do that, right? So let's see. Can I do this? I can't do this, right? But I can do this. I can do text case is equal to, shut up, text case. Guys, why am I interested in things like this? Because I want to tell you that this stuff, it's not magic, right? Like somebody wrote this code, for God's sake. You see what I'm saying? So we've taken a string of words, we're tokenizing these words now, right? We're tokenizing them. And if I want to achieve the same thing that I achieved up there, all I have to do is to come down and then say for text in text case, right? Print text. Is it not? And I run this and I get it. Let's assume that I take this guy off because it's not important to us right now. Okay, I want you guys to ask me questions about tokenization right now. Questions, please.
Hello. One notable difference between the tokenization and the split method
is what?
Okay. Right on my machine here, you didn't add exclamation mark to your second case. So in mine, I added it, and when I splitted it, I realized that the exclamation follows the word. It kind of separated it by the space.
But you know that we can actually extract that, right? We could remove it. So it's just, I mean, I don't want you to feel constrained, right? If this is your technical interview question, I don't care what you're telling me. Make it work. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, like, see, do you want to know how I would solve this in a very stupid way? I'd match it because this is computer science. It's not rocket science. Okay, of course it's rocket science. But what I mean by that is the first thing I might do is I might run a for loop to check if there's a punctuation that I define for myself, right? If I find that punctuation, I'm going to take it away. So I can do that. You know, the point is, I don't want us to be really locked into thinking that if you take away what is it called? If you take away the framework from us, that we can't do these things. If you go down to the fundamentals of how the space it does it's pretty much the same, right? And we can do it. So moving on. But who told me that is who spoke to me now? Who told me about this whole Charles, right?
That's Kamaldeen.
Oh, Kamal, good man. That was very, very attentive. I like that. What did I just do? Oh, crazy. Okay, now, but is everybody here now on Spacey? Have we got to this point in Spacey? And I want to tell you guys why Spacey why tokenization removes punctuation. When you're trying to tokenize a word, you probably want to count something. You don't care about the context of the word at that time, right? You probably want to know something like word count or maybe the word bag or something like that. You can't be using exclamations because you can use it for character counts. Tokenization, exclamation is a single character, right? So that's why that makes more sense. So look at what happens here. This is a token object, right? So if you do this, so what happens is that this is really interesting. So what doc is that see, this is actually the thing that similarly what happens with what is it called now, with what we did with the split, right? Because if you look at it, it creates a list of indexes, right? Because let's find out how true this is. I'd love to see this. This is one of the things I want you guys to, get really comfortable doing, right? Like, if if you want to find anything out, just go for it. So let's see what's at the second index. Sorry guys, I don't know what's wrong with my keyboard. And if we print text, let's see what we have. Guys, right? That's it. Let's see what we have at the 0, 1. So what do you think this guy does? Because I think if I take this space off, let's see what happens here. Are you seeing what is happening? In tokenize, are you guys following this interesting thing? This guy is tokenized white spaces too. Did you notice that? Who noticed that? Because if I do this and I run, it's gonna give me 0. I believe that is gonna actually give me 1. If I put 1, it's still gonna give me an empty space. Maybe. Oh, okay. No matter how large the white space is, it's just a single index. And if you do 2, it's gonna give you guys. And if you do 3, I think it's gonna tell you that you are outside of the index bound. I believe so. Look at it. You see? Index error. I want you guys to ask me questions. God, I hate online classes. Please. Boluwatife. How is it going? I've never heard you say anything. Okay, move on. Moving on. Okay, so we've seen what exactly how, and what does tokenization do is just like you take a bag of word and then you split it. You keep splitting it and have like single or characters and have single homogeneous word. Now, see, this is a span. This is a span, right? The span is you are trying to, what is it called now? You split the word, and then you only want to start from the first index. Are you guys comfortable with slicing in Python? How to slice lists? Am I saying online?
Yeah, we are good.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry, 1 minute, Steven. So for the class, first, let's make sure that we give responses on time. Don't wait for one person to, just so that the guests can tell that you're following along. It should be a two-way conversation, not just one way.
Okay. Please. I want to know that you guys are following. It's going to help me and encourage me to keep going. So guys, this is just basically the concept of list slicing in Python. What is going on here is that, let's assume that here I just want to, let's assume that I want to say this is super nice. Super nice, right? And all I want just the last stuff. I can just do -1. If I print it, it's gonna print nice because that's its negative slice, right? Because that's how negative slicing works in Python. And if I want just from the first index to the last one, yeah. So, you know, from the first index to the last one, it's gonna like say from the first index to the fourth index, but not inclusive. See this, watch this. If I do this, this, I think it's gonna just give me, guys, this, because this is zeroth index, the first index, the second index, because the third, the what is it called? It's not included. You know, yeah. So something like, I think it does something like n-1. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the principle behind that. So I'm trying to move really fast now. So that's it. So lexical attributes, print, index, for token. So, you know, this is just you know, this is just, they're still playing around with lists and all of that. You know, you want to know, look at what is happening here. Token.I for token in doc. You know, like you want to, you want to find out the index exactly. That is at what is the index number for each of them, and then and then you want to also tokenize each of it and see the text. Now, see what's happening here. You want to check if something is .alpha. If it's alphabet, should it's going to tell you. See what it said? True, true, false, 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 right? So it happens that it's alpha. If you look at it like this, what is the text? It costs. Why is this too? Why? The funny thing is, why do we get two trues here? And if it's punctuation, it's only going to be because the period, like numero, only $5. So I feel like,
Hello?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for taking you back. I have my question hasn't been fully answered.
Please tell
on
me.
that tokenization. My particular problem was I want to tokenize a column in a data set. A column of, it comprises of addresses. Address.
Okay.
So they are similar words like Lagos, Nigeria in the address, but there are some other ones that are, so I have not been able to tokenize the particular column I want in the data set. So that is where my problem is.
How does data present itself? Can you tell me so that we can work around it?
Okay, let me look for it.
Like, is it like
it's part.
Is it how does it, like, is it per, what is it, like per row, like Lagos? How?
Okay, yeah. It is actually one of the assignments that we have. So when we are trying to do a linear regression on the price housing in Lagos, the price rents in Lagos. And the columns I have are titles, addresses, facilities, prices. So on the part of the addresses, because I wanted to predict the prices based on their locations, the addresses. So the addresses I have, they are in string format.
Okay, can you give me an example of one?
Okay, Oakland Estate, Songotedo, Aja, Lagos.
Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to be able to
Yes.
But are they all in Lagos?
But yes, they are all in Lagos. So
like
I want
the
to
whole,
do because
the
whole
entire
column,
data.
yes. I don't want to do. Yes. It's in Lagos. The entire.
So what are you
data
trying to what are you
is in
trying to
Lagos.
extract? What are you trying to extract? I like this question. What are you trying to extract?
Okay, like in all the addresses. Lagos is there, so I want to eliminate Lagos out of there, and then I want to leave things like Lekki, Ajah, Ikoyi, and
Okay.
Surulere and all those things. So I want to do them at once in one single column
Single
of picking
pass.
them. Yes,
Sorry,
instead of picking them one. Instead of picking them one after the other, because that will actually take
And
forever
why do you
to
want to
hours.
tokenize it? Why do you want to tokenize it?
Okay, so I will be able to plot a regression graph easily instead of, because if I should plot a graph using the same address, like the column will be so how will I put it, the x axis will be so long because like I have a lot of unique values under the addresses. I don't know maybe if I'm doing the right thing or not, but
Okay, yeah, I want to think about the engineering first, right? Because I don't think you've thought about it proper. But let's think we're like a team now, right? We're solving this particular problem.
yeah.
We have a column with addresses. We want to extract a specified, we want to extract a specified set of thing, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do first? How do you match
What do I
it?
do?
Yeah, like for me, I'm trying to think of it from first principle. The first thing for me would be is I want to know the unique areas that are in these columns, right?
Absolutely, yes.
That's what I want to know first, right? Let's forget about tokenization first of all, because it looks big, right? I want to know the unique areas. So that means for each column, right? I probably would want to offload the string. I'm serious. Like I probably want to go through a single pass, offload each string, and then because it makes sense. I don't want to predict, right? The first thing you do, right? The first thing that you're going to do is to create a dictionary that is outside your database, your data set, right? So what it does is that what a dictionary does is that you're gonna use the concept of default dict. Do you know how to use dictionaries very well? That's what they call default dict.
Yes,
so you don't know what the key and value is. You don't know the count, right? I want to go through all my addresses, and then for every single unique string I see there, map it to the number of counts. So if I see Ajah and I see Ajah again, go and add it to 2. So I can go down. Because you know what you care about, right? You know what you care about. You know whether you care about Ajah, you care about. You might not care about the street name. You just care about the vicinity, right?
Yeah.
So at the end, you're looking at a dictionary and you're seeing that Ajah is 24. This one is 20. Other things are stupid because the funny thing about data is you need to know that if you become too granular in solving a problem, you're going to waste a lot of time.
True.
So what I do is I'd loop through the entire address data set and then form a dictionary where each string in each column is the key, with the value being the count of how many times it appears in the entire column.
Okay.
When I finish that, I will now know I will now look at my dictionary and see the vicinities of interest that I have, right? Then I know how to eliminate it. If I will now, the second function I'm going to do is that I'm going to now write a second method that will now loop through, to make it easy for you, make sure that as you're looping through, convert every single string to a lowercase. So you don't have a problem. So when the second time you're coming back, right? What you're going to do now is that if you read an address in a data set, if you see Ajah, take only Ajah, turn every other thing to a white space. Like you use Ajah to replace the string. Do you understand? This is very basic. Hello? Am I still online? Hello?
Yeah. I can hear use network here.
Do you understand? Like this is let's from first principle, just to write a step. First, step 1, I want to find the unique areas that are in my address that I care about. You look through your address column, you see Lekki, Aja, Ogudu, blah, blah, blah. You've seen them, you've seen the accounts. You would even be able to know if something is more repetitive than just Lekki, Aja. What if there is something else you're not seeing, right? You're done with that. But let's assume that you now decide that it is these areas that you want to use to overwrite. Of course, concept of data, please always preserve it for data integrity. Create a copy of what you're trying to mutate, because it's unfair if you just mutate the whole data and not have a single source of truth of where it came from. So what I'm going to do is that, okay, I don't care about number 15, this. All I want to do is that if I come and I match, and you match any single thing I have in my dictionary, I will throw away every other thing and then just leave Lekki, Aja, Festac. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because that's the only way to make sense. Yeah, because if you say tokenization, I don't know how you're, maybe I'm not thinking about the engineering the way you're thinking, but this is how I will solve it, and it makes intuitive sense to me.
Well, at first I tried using a dictionary, then I encountered some problems. So I asked a friend of mine, and he said I should use NLP, and I started reading up on NLP, and I was applying, and yes, I still got it.
Yeah, you can tokenize, but that's like a next level of complexity, because you're not solving the problem from first principle. See, NLP is just, you got to know where you got to use it. You can't just, because you have NLP as a hammer, everything you have is not NLP problem. It's not an NLP problem. This is just simple text processing, right? That you can just solve from first principle. Make a count, store, replace. You can solve it. You can solve it. Just solve it. Just go easy with yourself. You can be able to do it. I might be able to put up some boilerplate code and maybe see how that can work for you too.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah. So, guys, I think I'm fast spent on my own time. Jesus, this time flies. I'm really.
So, are we quite done with the questions?
Yeah, I
Bolu, what's your mind?
Okay, see what's gonna happen, guys. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
It's gonna be very, very impractical to think I'm going to be able to finish this, right? I really wish I could spend a lot of time with you, maybe code overnight or something, right? But what we're gonna do is, this resource, which of course I might have to email to the student admin to share with you guys. I'd love you guys to go through it, at least see they did some really good, interesting thing like pre-processing German, Spanish, yeah. And if you can finish the first chapter of this Sprisi course, it's going to help you a lot in understanding. See, remove your mind from chatbots. Really, I want to say this right now, right? I don't want you to get so impressed with chatbots. I know that Charles mentioned something about IBM Watson. Sometimes those chatbots are not complete, so you still have to write custom stuff, right? So let's not just worry about that first. I'd prefer that you understand how to solve a problem first from the first principle. And I'm going to try and share some of my book resources. One of the books that I read that I still find super interesting is this is one of my best books, one of my best resource, Natural Language Processing in Action, because it tries to tell you about it doesn't try to just principles. How would you write a chatbot pipeline to suit your business case? Because most times these pre-packaged tools, doesn't really solve a problem. Most of you would also want to check out frameworks like Rasa. Rasa is one of the frameworks that we use in my company, which is super interesting. That very easy to deploy. documentation is amazing. If you can see things like, for instance, rather open source. Let's take a look at this quickly. You'd see like really, really beautiful things like, setting up your how, choosing a pipeline. I think they have kind of like deprecated something like Spacey. I think they have deprecated Spacey. I think so. But and the beautiful thing is that you would see how pipelines are structured. See what's happening. This is a pipeline for chatbots. There's a tokenizer. There's a featureizer. There's a lexical syntactic. Now, you see, this is why I didn't want to teach you guys how to build a chatbot. Because this is what they're doing. It's like they have layers of pipeline. Let's assume that we have, just think of a pipeline to be like different doors to enter. Somebody says, hello, I have a headache. Okay, of course. Let me talk from where I have experience. I didn't really go to medical school because I wanted to practice. I've never loved the idea of being a doctor every day, right? So I'm going to tell you guys, because this is why, like, even as I'm about to like get off, I always know that I'm more interested in solving medical healthcare problems just using software engineering, right? And that's why my first point of call for people I want to work with is like a healthcare company. Then others come next. So I'm going to tell you guys something. Let's assume that. Let me talk about let me tell you what we do. If someone says I have a headache, or I have an abdominal pain, or I have a delayed menses, whatever, what do? See, think of pipeline as doors that you pass through. Like you're passing through a door. The text is going to pass through door 1, door 2, by the end, we'll now know. So look at what they're doing. Which is what you're going to learn from the fundamental of NLP. The chatbot did not create itself. There's nothing like NLP for chatbots. It's just NLP. So you know how to now use it to solve your own problem. The first thing is tokenizer. You see, you tokenize the words first, then you featureize them. So if I want to learn about these things in this integration, what do? I can learn how to build features out of words. It's an NLP skill on itself. How do you create features out of word of text? So you've learned that. How do you tokenize? So you've learned that. How do you use regexes to featureize? You've learned that. How do you do lexical syntactic featureizer? You've learned that, and it's here. I want to say that something like, let me look at the next chapter. Something like, pattern matchings and all of that. They're all here. Relationships, they're all here. As you're going through these courses, you're going to be able to see these things. How do you write processing pipelines? This is very, very important. They're all here. And then selective processing. And how do you process data with context, which is one of the things that we do in chatbot system called named entity recognition or entity classification. How do you maintain the context? They're all here. So you see, then at the end, why does this keep happening? Okay, then you have how do you count vectors? So you see, what happens is that these texts, they go through all these pipelines from, at the end, they give you something, right? I wish I could demo something to you guys about how our chatbot backend system works, but of course, non-disclosure. But I want you guys to take a look at this. This is one thing that you can take a look at. Another thing that you can also, another chatbot framework of interest that you can also take a look at is, you guys could learn how Dialogflow works, but it's not open source and it's not free, but I hate it because it's like a lot of vendor locking, right? You guys can take a look at how Amazon Lex works. Microsoft Lewis, and and all of that. And you start seeing similarities about how you will still keep seeing the same thing happening all over and all over again. The only good thing about Raza is that it's open source and it is production ready. So if you want to build a complex chatbot, like Charles mentioned at the beginning, that chatbots help businesses. The NLP is how we used to help. Trust me, there are lots of things. Like classical example would be this chatbot here. I don't know if you guys can see Sarah. Sarah is actually built with Raza, and it's interesting. How do I set up? You know, Sarah is still smart. Are you new to Raza? And this is yes, no. You see, these are the things you can do with Raza, and it's a complete engine. So as you're learning your chatbot, I could say yes, please, but let me see how smart she is. I could say, please, yes. She gets it, right? And she's teaching me, right? And she keeps saying this, you know? So the point is just understand the fundamentals and how to build these things. And I am going to drop my email right here so that if you want to talk to me, you can send me an email and you could ask me any question. What is wrong with my keyboard? You can find me on LinkedIn. It's please, I can. If you send me a LinkedIn request, if you add a note, I'll be able to quickly accept it and know where you're coming from. But you could, yeah. How you know it's my LinkedIn profile? You see a guy with a very big head. Once you see the big head, it's me. Yeah. I think I have to stop here right now and entertain your questions. Why do I feel so fulfilled, guys?
Hi, Gabriel. Hello.
Yeah, what did you say up there?
Hi, Stephen.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. All right. So thank you so much for the amazing session. It's been really very insightful. I have no idea what you're discussing because you broke it down into bits. As you spoke, so it wasn't just one-sided. They were able to interact. So thank you again for joining the call. Thank you for accepting our invite and for being our guest.
Yeah, and I'm in Lagos. For anybody that wants to
share document.
Anybody that wants to grab quick lunch.
Yeah, so it would be amazing
let's
to
do
connect.
Let's do it.
Maybe
Let's do it.
social media or Hangout. I don't know. Yeah, so I'll try to get those details via mail and then we'll share with the class in case anyone has questions to ask you. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you once again. Can we also thank you?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It was great.
Yeah, so we can just.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you very much.
So we'll just leave you at this point to enjoy. So I'll collect the resources from your mail and I'll share with the class. So if they need to reach out to you from then, they can pick it up themselves.
Definitely, guys. Definitely. If anybody.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Bye bye, everyone.
Okay. If anybody has a question or working on something and wants to talk about it anytime, just shoot me an email, right? If I have time, I can. I don't stay in Lagos anymore, right? But I'm currently in Lagos. So if you want to grab a quick lunch, you could just let me know, because I'm free till evening. I'm like around Ogudu GRA, right? So we could grab a free lunch and geek out a bit. And yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna send out resources. Just hit me up and you could find. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, works for me.
We'll surely do that. Thank you so much. That's a very generous offer. Thank you so much. Bye bye.